Cinematic safe spaces. You know what really makes me happy? Seeing out-of-touch companies burn before their executives' eyes. A smouldering demonstration of their public lies. Screaming woke into a deafened ear. I was shown a video essay the other day. It was a little too dramatic, but had something crucial to say. We don't hate strong female characters. We hate bad writing. It's not an exact quote, but it's true to their thought. It made me consider, well, I'll keep it short. I very much agree. What makes a good story? Subjective at best. Struggles the characters face, and conquering each test. A relatable narrative grounded by our world and its rules. A cinematic spectacle or plot driven by fools, making awful decisions that would leave no plot without them. I find most forms of entertainment to be fair in their own way. If I don't like it personally, it doesn't spoil my day. Well, other than the constant, obnoxious, and self-indulgent advertising. But how do you define a good story? And I'm sure you've heard this plenty of times before me. It must have characters that grow and progress. Otherwise, no character arc can develop, and the whole thing becomes a mess. After watching that video, I considered what else I'd seen. Specifically, female leading roles, and tried to read the lines in between. The last thing I'd do is let some random video spout sexist nonsense and take it as gospel. But a somewhat trend emerged. Many of these female leads were already perfect people. All possessed character flaws that weren't relevant or addressed during the course of the entertainment. Delightfully, this isn't always the case, and those shows and movies tend to be reviewed pretty well. But the perfect characters? Few, if any, flaws to speak of. Terribly reviewed. I've taken a while to consider why. Is it just blatant sexism from every guy? Down with independent women and all of that shit? I'd argue no, or at least not primarily. These perfect characters have nowhere to go. No growth in person throughout the run of the show. It's just the same person in every single scene. Woke to keep the company's reputation squeaky clean. What if every single person in our world didn't change throughout their life? You may as well be handed a script and bound in chains until you die. Why are these characters being written this way? I can take a guess, though ill-informed, so this is what I'd say. Maybe these film and TV companies realise they're losing some of their market share to streaming and video sharing websites holding viewers' attention over them. Desperate to get that attention back, they throw as much shit against the wall as possible to see what sticks. The way our world has progressed, our budding and exemplary inclusive societal shift dictates the new strong female lead must be independent and perfect in all ways, a paragon of what our society now wishes to idolise. As far from the traditional family model as possible. Now, don't get me wrong, these characters are fine, but they aren't people. They aren't even remotely close to real. I would challenge any human on this planet to say with a straight face that they have no flaws whatsoever. If anyone can, then they are truly deluded. We can't get out of our problems because we are in fact perfect and the world has to bend to our knee. So why can they? The crux of what I'm trying to say is that I think that the perfect character in an imperfect world is an extremely lazy and uninspired form of writing. It means that every moment where the character could learn something valuable is brushed away as an imperfect world holding the perfect character down. Overcoming an oppressive system is one story. Having no scruples whilst you do it is another. I feel as though perhaps this is where these dreadful reviews largely come from. One-note characters. Awful writing that people just don't care for. I don't really see the woke messaging throughout these shows to be a problem. It's what our society now demands, so it's only what we've asked for. But please stop writing these characters into cinematic safe spaces where growing as a person just isn't necessary. Growing and learning is what constitutes living. These characters barely seem alive. To starve us of good writing will destroy you. I will delight in the day when someone new claims that pedestal and mocks every marvellous tragedy you've stitched in utter desperation. We'll watch it fall, and no one will do a thing. Happily.